Am I more than just a statue? Or is there something within? Do artists make these creatives, and does something remain? All right, we have some more beautiful landscapes here. Beautiful tree. Beautiful sprout. All right, so let's talk about I Am a Ghost. I love the film because it went from a perspective of the person who is no longer on the physical side of life. The ghost. I loved the whole indie vibe. I loved everything about the film, even the slow pace. A lot of times when you're a creator, it just depends on the type of creator that you are. You'll love a slow build up. So that's what I loved about I Am a Ghost indie film. A lot of people critiqued about her voice, about her mannerisms, about the hair, because there wasn't a definitive time period. But I have been blessed that my great-grandmother lived 29 years of my life. She passed in 2000 at 109 years old, of Cherokee, Choctaw, and Blackfoot descent. She wasn't loud speaking all the time. She was a very strong, authoritative speaker. And she didn't wear her hair up in chignons or the updos or the Gibson girl. Not all the time. So if you're in your own home, you can wear your hair down. You can have an authoritative voice. You don't have to be submissive. There's no definitive of any person, but we're going to focus in on the female because that's the critiques that's been happening. There's no definitive on how a female should be in the 1800s period, or if it was 1700s. But they also focused on some very strong subjects of self-harm, suicide. And while she was going through her everyday routines, and as the filmmaker took us through the everyday routines, she was reliving those moments, but not coming to the grasp of why she can't move on. And that is because of the suicide. But then I love the turn of how they did the disorder, the dissociative order. And a lot of times that's where people do suffer from, because they're not able to come face to face with the trauma that put them in that aspect, if that is how they led to that particular mental disorder. I really hate saying the word disorder. I know it's the clinical terms. I love saying anything but that. I use different adjectives. But she didn't come face to face with it until the climax, and the climax was so wild. And it had a lot of adult visuals there in the climax, and you just have to see the movie, or if you saw the movie, you know what I mean. But through all that, through the climax, she was able to chill herself down and say, it's going to be okay. She's talking herself down from all this climatic darkness that she's seen. And she says, I am a ghost. I'm a ghost. I love the therapist type vibe, but it really was like a medium, a clairvoyant, because the house was now inhabited by present day. And they could feel the aura of this ghost. They could hear the ghost, which was her, going through her day-to-day in her home. But she was unable to get out of that. So it was a haunting. They were sick of it. So then they hired this spiritualist, this clairvoyance. And she was able to communicate with the main character, the female. And I love that aspect of it. We have people walking by so you can see shadows, so that's not a ghost, that's just people walking by and everything like that. But helping her, but then she helped herself to a certain point. Alright, so she was able to just climb herself out of it, this darkness. She was able to climb herself out of, when I say the darkness, I mean that moment that got so climatic. Then from there, we're left, and I love that, when you're left to say, what happened? You put your own ending. It's not going to be a sequel, but you're left with your own ending. So when she talks herself off that climatic ledge and says, it's going to be okay, I am a ghost, I'm a ghost. One thing that they teach us, many of us, especially those who come from a religious and spiritual background, like myself, that suicide is such an ultimate sin and you're going to go straight to hell and there's no recovery from that. I am not here to change anybody's beliefs, but what I do know is that some people, in my opinion, are sent here on earth to go through sufferings and struggles. None of us escape that. It's just that some are more severe than others. And so, in that turn, those of us who are not in that deep darkness, I feel like we're here to show compassion and help people get the help that they need, or be kind until they can be gentle enough with themselves. And I feel like it's all a climatic learning lesson, you know what I mean? So I don't think that when people commit suicide, I don't think when you try to kill yourself that you're a bad person. In some instances, if you didn't do any harm to someone else, or you're harming yourself, I don't think that they're bad. I think a lot of times it's just, lost souls, trauma, things that the mind can't really escape from, and they don't see any other way out. Do I feel like you have a penance for that? I feel that there is a reaction for every action. Yes, I do feel that. It's called karma. It's called purgatory. Do I feel like we stay there in that? If you haven't like killed someone or raped someone or something like that. I do feel like you do go through your dark waters of darkness, but then somehow after that you come to the light. And you may have a do-over. Could be reincarnation or whatever you believe in. There's so much out here that we don't have the answers for. And I love for I Am a Ghost left it hanging just like that. You know, we've seen many places that have been haunted. You yourself could have been in a haunting dynamic. But either you got the entity out, or some people live with the entity. Depends on if the entity is either jolly, mischievous, and not so dark. But one thing I loved about having my great-grandmother there was that she talked about spirits. She talked about the half has never been told. And that's always stuck with me. The half has never been told. Are we able to unlock some of the mysteries? I think so. I've unlocked some. And then there's some that you may never unlock. But that's the beauty of life, the experiences and hearing other people's experiences. That was a swan with the beak going up, but not fully submerging from the water. So he's gonna come up again, I feel like, to catch some air, but he's been doing the whole I'll come up when I want to, but he'll come up again. They're really fast swimmers, that's for sure. Alright, so with the budget was $10,000. I thought that was pretty cool for that type of budget, and then to have that kind of impact from the film. I thought that was pretty cool. Alright, so we're walking the bridge, and I just feel like it was a really good film. I feel like it touched on a lot of stuff, and if you have friends and family who suffer from mental issues and some things that are so unspeakable to some in your family, then this really resonated to you, very much so. So walking over the bridge, and it's a wonderful day to talk about a pretty good film, and we'll have some highlights here for you to see, and then you go check it out. It was definitely a film that I watched on Saturday, right before Sunday, and I really enjoyed it. So check it out. I'm going to be listing some great films that I'm going to be watching for Vlogoween and Vlogtober. We're just going to have a good time on this channel. We'll also be doing the outtakes, so I want you to stay locked in because we have a lot of stuff to cover. And we're going to be doing some other fresh perspective takes as well for Vlogtober and Vlogoween. And yeah, here we go with spooky season. And if you want to look, this is my lovely rosary. I'm a minister's kid and brought up religious and spiritual. And I've seen my share of things. I am of the veil, and it's generational. A lot of people are using that word now, and I simply think they have no idea what that entails, but go off. It's not something that you shout out to everyone, and I know it definitely runs deep with the women in my family, and we all have our different little gifts that I will not talk about. But yeah, it's a wonderful day, and we're going to do a session right now here, so lock in for that. So make sure you go check out I'm a Ghost. Are we really in reality? Or are we ghosts thinking this is reality? Who knows? But I'll tell you this, never give up on yourself, never give up on others, show compassion, and live your best life, always. I'm Bebe for BebeBiBiBebe, and more to come. Oh yeah.